Lisa Morgan pressed her face against the small window of the transport shuttle and gasped. The space station New Vegas Prime stretched out before her like a glittering jewel against the black of space. Lights twinkled from thousands of windows, and ships of all sizes moved around it like busy insects. She had never seen anything so beautiful or so big. The shuttle pilot, a gruff man with tired eyes, glanced back at her. "First time seeing a space station, lady?" Lisa nodded, unable to speak. She was just a simple schoolteacher from a small town in Kansas. The biggest building she had ever seen was the county courthouse. This place was like a city floating in space. "That's the Stellar Gateway Hotel right there." The pilot pointed to a gleaming tower that rose from the station's center. "Fanciest place in this part of the galaxy. Your husband must be doing pretty well for himself." Lisa smiled and touched her wedding ring. Alex had been gone for 3 months on business. She missed him terribly. When he sent her the ticket to come visit him at his hotel, she was so excited she could barely sleep for a week. The shuttle docked with a soft thud. Lisa gathered her small bag and followed the other passengers out. The docking bay was enormous, with a ceiling so high she could barely see it. Aliens of different shapes and sizes moved around, talking in languages she didn't understand. Some walked on 2 legs like humans, others had 4 or 6 legs. One creature floated by without any legs at all. Lisa stared in wonder. She had seen aliens on television, but being near them was completely different. Their skin was different colors: blue, purple, green, and silver. Some had fur, others had scales. A few had extra arms or eyes in strange places. She walked toward the main area of the station, following the signs that said Stellar Gateway Hotel. Her heart was beating fast with excitement. Soon she would see Alex again. The hotel entrance was the most beautiful thing Lisa had ever seen. The walls were made of something that looked like crystal, and they sparkled with their own light. The floor was so shiny she could see her reflection in it. Huge plants with flowers she had never seen before filled the corners. Lisa walked up to the front desk, where a tall alien with purple skin and 4 arms was working. The alien had large yellow eyes and wore fancy clothes with gold decorations. A small metal tag on his chest said Manager, Zextar. "Excuse me," Lisa said politely. "I have a reservation. My name is Lisa Morgan." Zextar looked down at her with a bored expression. His yellow eyes moved up and down, looking at her simple dress and worn shoes. "Human," he said, like the word tasted bad in his mouth. "Yes, sir. I'm here to meet my husband. He owns this hotel." Zextar's eyes got narrow. "Owns this hotel? You? A human?" He made a sound that might have been laughter, but it wasn't nice. "Humans do not own places like this. You are confused." Lisa felt her cheeks get hot. "No, sir. My husband is Alex Morgan. He really does own this hotel chain." "Show me your identification," Zextar said, holding out one of his 4 hands. Lisa pulled out her wallet and showed him her driver's license and marriage certificate. Zextar looked at them for a long time, then handed them back. "These could be fake," he said. "Humans are known for trying to trick their way into luxury places they cannot afford. They're not fake," Lisa said, her voice getting louder. Other aliens in the lobby started to stare at them. "Please just check your computer. My husband made this reservation for me." Zextar touched some buttons on a screen behind the desk. His face got angry. "There is a reservation for Lisa Morgan, but this is clearly a mistake. No human belongs in a place like this. This hotel serves civilized species only." Lisa couldn't believe what she was hearing. "What do you mean, civilized species? I'm a person just like you." "Just like me?" Zextar stood up to his full height. He was much taller than Lisa. "I am Valdorian nobility. My family has ruled worlds for thousands of years. You are a primitive human from a backwater planet. We are nothing alike." Other aliens had stopped what they were doing to watch. Some were pointing at Lisa and whispering to each other. Lisa felt very small and very far from home. "Please," she said quietly. "I just want to see my husband. Can you call him?" "Mr. Morgan is not available," Zextar said. "He is on important business." Even if these papers are real, which I doubt, you clearly do not understand your place. This establishment has standards. A robot with 6 arms rolled up to the desk. Shall I escort this human to security, Manager Zextar? Yes, Zextar said. Make sure she understands that humans are not welcome here unless they are cleaning the floors or serving food. Lisa felt tears starting in her eyes. But I have nowhere else to go. My shuttle ticket was one way. My husband is expecting me. That is not our problem, Zextar said coldly. Perhaps you can find a storage closet somewhere on the station. That would be more appropriate for someone like you. The robot extended 2 of its arms toward Lisa. Come with me, human. Do not make trouble. Lisa looked around the beautiful lobby one more time. All the aliens were staring at her with expressions that ranged from bored to disgusted. No one looked like they might help her. She followed the robot out of the hotel, her small bag clutched in her hands. The robot led her through the station's corridors to a section she hadn't seen before. The walls here were metal instead of crystal, and everything looked old and worn. There, the robot said, pointing to a small door marked Maintenance Access. You may sleep in there. Try not to get in the way of the cleaning equipment. Lisa opened the door and looked inside. It was tiny, barely big enough for her to lie down. It smelled like oil and chemicals. But it was somewhere to sleep. Thank you, she whispered to the robot. The robot made a mechanical sound that might have been laughter. Humans, always so polite, even when they are being put in their proper place. Lisa went into the small room and closed the door behind her. She sat on her bag and finally let herself cry. She was alone, far from home, in a place where no one wanted her. She couldn't understand why the aliens hated humans so much, or why her husband's own hotel would treat her this way. Outside her tiny room, she could hear the sounds of the space station. Machines humming, people talking, ships coming and going. But inside, she felt more alone than she had ever felt in her life. She pulled out her phone to try calling Alex, but there was no signal in the maintenance room. All she could do was wait and hope that somehow things would get better in the morning. Alex Morgan stepped off his private shuttle onto the docking bay of New Vegas Prime. He was tired after 3 weeks of business meetings on the mining colony Kepler 442b, but excited to see Lisa. His wife should have arrived yesterday, and he couldn't wait to show her around the space station and spend time together. Alex was not a tall man, but he moved with confidence. His simple black suit hid the fact that he was one of the richest men in human space. More importantly, it hid the scars on his arms and chest from his days as a Special Forces soldier. Those days seemed long ago now, but the skills he learned had never left him. He walked quickly through the station corridors toward his hotel. The Stellar Gateway was his pride and joy, the first in a chain of luxury hotels he had built across the galaxy. He had worked hard to make it a place where all species could feel welcome and safe. The hotel lobby looked perfect as always. The crystal walls sparkled, the floors shined, and expensive art filled every corner. Alex nodded to the staff as he walked toward the private elevator that led to his penthouse suite. "Welcome back, Mr. Morgan," said one of the human employees, a young woman named Betty who worked in guest services. She looked nervous and kept glancing around like she was afraid someone might see her talking to him. "Thank you, Betty. Has my wife settled in well? I hope the staff has been taking good care of her." Betty's face went pale. She opened her mouth, then closed it, then looked around again. "Sir, maybe you should ask Manager Zextar about that." Alex felt something cold in his stomach. "What do you mean? Where is my wife?" "I don't know, sir. I haven't seen her since yesterday morning when she tried to check in." Betty's voice was very quiet. Manager Zextar handled everything personally. Alex's expression didn't change, but inside he felt anger starting to build. In his Special Forces days, he had learned to control his emotions and think clearly, even when he was furious. That skill was coming back to him now. "Thank you, Betty. Please don't mention this conversation to anyone." Alex went up to his penthouse and immediately checked the security system. He had cameras throughout the hotel, not in the rooms, but in all the public areas. He pulled up the recordings from yesterday and began searching through them. What he saw made his blood turn cold. There was Lisa, looking small and excited, walking into his hotel lobby. She approached the front desk where Zextar was working. Alex watched as his wife showed her identification and marriage certificate. He watched as Zextar looked at the papers and then spoke to Lisa with obvious contempt. Alex couldn't hear the words through the security camera, but he could see everything. He watched his wife's face change from excitement to confusion to hurt. He watched other aliens in the lobby stare at her and whisper. He watched as a security robot escorted Lisa out of the hotel like she was a criminal. Alex's hands were shaking as he followed the security footage through the station corridors. He watched the robot lead Lisa to a maintenance section and point to a tiny storage room. He watched his wife, his beautiful, kind wife who had never hurt anyone in her life, disappear into a closet barely big enough for a person to lie down. Alex sat back in his chair and closed his eyes. In his Special Forces days, he had seen terrible things. He had fought enemies who wanted to destroy everything he cared about, but watching his wife be treated like garbage in his own hotel made him angrier than he had ever been. He opened his eyes and began working. First, he pulled up all the security footage from the past 6 months. He watched it at high speed, looking for patterns. What he found made him even more angry. Zextar and the other Valdorian staff had been treating human guests badly for months. They gave humans the worst rooms, charged them extra fees, and found excuses to throw them out. Alex watched them laugh about it with each other when they thought no one was looking, but it was worse than just bad service. Alex pulled up the hotel's financial records and began going through them carefully. His years in business had taught him to spot problems in accounting, and there were problems everywhere. The Valdorians had been stealing money. They were overcharging human guests and keeping the extra payments for themselves. They were ordering expensive supplies and selling them to other businesses. They were even charging the hotel for family members who didn't actually work there. Alex made copies of everything and stored them in multiple secure locations. Then he began looking deeper. He used his business connections to check on Zextar's background. What he found was interesting. Zextar came from a noble family on the Valdorian homeworld, but they had lost most of their money in bad investments. Zextar had been working at luxury hotels across the galaxy, and every single one had fired him for stealing or treating guests badly. Alex had hired him without checking his background carefully enough. The other Valdorian employees had similar stories. They were all from families that used to be rich and important but had fallen on hard times. They seemed to think that working at Alex's hotel was beneath them, and they took their anger out on human guests. Alex spent the rest of the night learning everything he could about his employees. He used military databases that he still had, access to business networks and even criminal records. He built a complete picture of what had been happening in his hotel. By morning, Alex had a plan. But first he needed to find Lisa. He left his penthouse and went down to the maintenance section of the station. His heart was pounding as he approached the small storage room where the security cameras had shown Lisa going. He knocked softly on the door. "Lisa, are you in there?" The door opened quickly and Lisa threw her arms around him. She was crying and shaking. "Alex, I'm so sorry. They said I didn't belong here. They said my papers were fake. I tried to tell them I was your wife, but they wouldn't listen." Alex held her tight and felt his anger grow even stronger. Lisa smelled like cleaning chemicals from the storage room. Her dress was wrinkled and dirty. She had spent the night in a closet while he slept in luxury. "It's not your fault," he said quietly. "None of this is your fault. But I promise you, the people who did this to you are going to regret it for the rest of their lives." Lisa looked up at him. "What do you mean?" Alex smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile he used to have when he was a soldier about to go into battle. "I mean that some people are about to learn why you should never mess with a human's family." Alex brought Lisa back to their penthouse suite and made sure she had everything she needed. He ordered room service to bring her favorite foods and ran a hot bath for her. While Lisa was getting cleaned up, Alex was making plans. He could have fired all the Valdorian staff immediately. He could have called security and had them arrested for stealing. But Alex had learned something important during his military days. The best revenge was the kind that completely destroyed your enemies' ability to hurt anyone ever again. "What are you going to do?" Lisa asked as she came out of the bathroom wearing a clean dress. She looked much better, but Alex could still see sadness in her eyes. "I'm going to make sure this never happens to anyone else," Alex said. "But I need to do it the right way. If I just fire them, they'll go to another hotel and treat more people badly. I need to gather enough evidence to ruin them completely." Lisa sat down next to him on the couch. "How can I help?" Alex looked at his wife. She was the kindest person he knew. Even after being treated terribly, she wanted to help other people who might be hurt the same way. "I need you to go back down to the hotel," Alex said. "Pretend you're still just a regular guest who got thrown out. Talk to other humans who work here or stay here, find out what's been happening to them." Lisa looked scared. "What if they're mean to me again?" "They won't touch you," Alex said firmly. "I'll be watching everything through the security cameras, and I'll have people nearby to help if you need them, but I need someone they don't suspect to find out the truth." The next morning, Lisa took the elevator down to the hotel lobby. She was nervous, but she knew what Alex had asked her to do was important. She walked around the public areas, looking for other humans. In the coffee shop, she found a woman about her age sitting alone at a small table. The woman looked sad and tired. Lisa walked over to her. "Excuse me," Lisa said. "Are you staying at this hotel?" The woman looked up. Her name tag said Maria and housekeeping. She had dark circles under her eyes. "I work here," Maria said quietly. "Are you a guest?" "I tried to check in yesterday, but they wouldn't let me," Lisa said. "They said humans weren't good enough for this place." Maria's eyes got wide. "They said that to you too?" "I thought it was just because I'm an employee." Lisa sat down at Maria's table. "What do you mean?" Maria looked around to make sure no one was listening. "I used to work in guest services. I was good at my job and customers liked me. But 6 months ago they moved me to housekeeping. They said humans should do jobs that match their abilities." "That's terrible," Lisa said. "It gets worse," Maria whispered. "They make us work twice as many hours as the alien employees, but they pay us less. They say it's because we're not as valuable, and if we complain, they threaten to fire us and make sure we can't get jobs anywhere else in the galaxy." Lisa felt angry, but she kept her voice calm. "How many other humans work here?" "Maybe 20. We all got moved to cleaning jobs or kitchen work. None of us are allowed to deal with guests anymore." Lisa talked to Maria for an hour and learned many terrible things. The Valdorian managers were not just mean to human guests. They were treating human employees like slaves. They made them work in dangerous conditions without proper safety equipment. They took money from their paychecks for made-up reasons. They even made the humans eat different food that was cheaper and not as good. After talking to Maria, Lisa found other human employees. She met Carl, who used to be the head chef but was now washing dishes. She met Danny, who used to manage security, but was now emptying trash cans. She met Jennifer, who used to run the business center but was now scrubbing floors. All of them told her the same story. The Valdorians had slowly pushed all the humans into the worst jobs while giving the good positions to aliens. They said it was because humans were naturally suited for manual labor, and aliens were naturally suited for thinking jobs. But Lisa also learned something else. The human employees were smart, and they had been paying attention. They knew about the stealing, the overcharging, and the lies. They had been keeping records of everything, hoping that someday someone would listen to them. "We tried to complain to the owner," Carl told her. But manager Zextar said the owner didn't care about human problems. He said the owner was probably an alien anyway, and aliens stick together. Lisa almost smiled at that, but she kept her expression serious. What if the owner did care? What if he found out what was really happening? "That would be nice," Jennifer said sadly. "But rich people don't usually care about people like us." That evening, Lisa went back to the penthouse and told Alex everything she had learned. Alex listened carefully and took notes. What Lisa had discovered was even worse than what he had found in the security footage and financial records. "They're not just stealing money," Alex said. They're breaking labor laws. They're discriminating based on species, which is illegal in this sector of space. And they're creating unsafe working conditions. What can we do? Lisa asked. Alex was quiet for a long time. Then he began making phone calls. The first call was to his lawyer, a tough woman named Susan who specialized in employment law. The second call was to a friend who worked for the Galactic Labor Relations Board. The third call was to a journalist who wrote stories about corruption in the business world. Alex didn't tell any of them who he was or what hotel he was talking about. He just described the situations and asked what kind of evidence would be needed to build a strong case. Over the next few days, Lisa continued talking to human employees and guests. She learned that the discrimination had been going on for almost a year. She found out that several human families had been cheated out of money for their vacations. She discovered that 3 human employees had been injured on the job, but were told they couldn't see a doctor because it would be too expensive. Meanwhile, Alex was working behind the scenes. He hired private investigators to look into Zextar's background and the backgrounds of all the other Valdorian employees. He contacted the home offices of companies that did business with his hotel. He even reached out to Valdorian government officials to ask about the legal troubles some of his employees had left behind on their homeworld. Alex also did something else. He began quietly contacting other business owners in the sector, humans and aliens who believed in treating all species fairly. He told them what was happening at his hotel and asked if they had seen similar problems at their own businesses. What he found out surprised him. The Valdorian discrimination wasn't just happening at his hotel. It was part of a larger pattern. Valdorian employees at businesses throughout the sector were treating humans badly and stealing money. They seemed to think that because their species used to be powerful, they could do whatever they wanted. By the end of the week, Alex had enough evidence to destroy Zextar and his fellow Valdorians completely. But he wasn't ready to act yet. He wanted to do this perfectly so that when it was over, no one would ever think about treating humans badly again. Tomorrow night is the hotel's anniversary celebration, Alex told Lisa. All the important guests will be there, along with reporters and business leaders from across the galaxy. That's when we'll show everyone the truth. Lisa looked at her husband. Are you sure this is the right thing to do? Alex thought about all the human employees who had been treated badly. He thought about the families who had been cheated. He thought about his wife sleeping in a maintenance closet. Yes, he said. It's time to remind everyone that humans don't just get mad. We get even. The grand ballroom of the Stellar Gateway Hotel had never looked more beautiful. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting rainbow light across the room. Tables covered with expensive white cloth held the finest food from dozens of worlds. Alien dignitaries in their best formal wear moved through the crowd, talking and laughing. Manager Zextar stood near the main entrance, greeting guests as they arrived. He wore a new suit with even more gold decorations than usual. His forearms moved constantly as he shook hands, accepted gifts, and posed for pictures with important visitors. Welcome to our celebration of excellence, Zextar said to a group of wealthy Eldorian merchants. Tonight we celebrate 1 year of bringing true civilization to this sector of space. The Eldorians nodded approvingly. They had heard good things about how the Stellar Gateway had become an exclusive establishment that only served the best customers. At a table near the back, several reporters were taking notes and recording everything. There were journalists from the Galactic Business Network, the Interspecies Herald, and Channel 7 News. They had come to write stories about the hotel's success. Lisa stood in the crowd wearing a simple blue dress. She looked nervous, but she stayed close to the human employees she had befriended. Maria, Carl, Danny, and Jennifer were all there, wearing their work uniforms because they were serving food and drinks to the guests. I can't believe we're really doing this, Maria whispered to Lisa as she carried a tray of drinks past the reporter's table. Everything will be okay, Lisa whispered back. Alex knows what he's doing. On the small stage at the front of the room, Zextar picked up a microphone. The crowd got quiet and turned to listen to him. Friends and honored guests, Zextar began, his voice loud and confident. 1 year ago, I took over the management of this hotel with a vision. I wanted to create a place where civilized beings could enjoy luxury without having to deal with lesser species. Some of the alien guests nodded and clapped. Others looked uncomfortable, but they stayed quiet. I am proud to say that we have succeeded beyond our wildest dreams, Zexstar continued. Our profits are up 300%. Our guest satisfaction scores are the highest in the sector, and most importantly, we have created an environment where truly intelligent species can conduct business without interference from primitive creatures. The reporters were writing quickly. This was exactly the kind of story they had come to cover, a successful business that had found a way to serve elite customers. However, Zexstar said, his voice getting louder, our success has not come without challenges. We have had to deal with humans who try to trick their way into our establishment. Just this week, a human woman claimed to be married to the owner of this hotel chain. Can you imagine? A human married to someone wealthy enough to own properties like this? Many of the guests laughed. The idea did seem ridiculous to them. Zexstar was enjoying himself now. The woman even had fake documents trying to prove her story. But we saw through her lies immediately. Humans are known for this kind of dishonest behavior. It is why they cannot be trusted in positions of responsibility. Lisa felt her face get hot with embarrassment and anger. Everyone in the room was looking at her and laughing. But she remembered what Alex had told her. Everything was going according to plan. That is why, Zexstar continued, I am proud to announce that starting next month, this hotel will become completely human-free. No human guests, no human employees, no human visitors. We will be the first truly civilized establishment in this part of the galaxy. The crowd clapped loudly. Several alien business leaders stood up to show their approval. The reporters were taking pictures and making recordings. But before we celebrate, Zexstar said, I want to introduce you to the owner of this hotel chain. He has asked to say a few words about our success. Zexstar looked toward the side of the room where a door led to the private areas of the hotel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alex Morgan. The door opened and Alex walked into the ballroom. He was wearing a simple black suit and had a calm expression on his face. He walked slowly toward the stage and the crowd applauded politely. Zexstar's face went from confident to confused to terrified in the space of 3 seconds. His yellow eyes got very wide and his 4 hands started shaking. No, Zexstar whispered into the microphone. That's not possible. Alex walked up onto the stage and took the microphone from Zexstar's trembling hands. The crowd was murmuring now, sensing that something unexpected was happening. Good evening, Alex said in a calm, clear voice. My name is Alex Morgan and I own this hotel. I also own 47 other hotels across the galaxy, along with several shipping companies, 3 mining operations, and a defense technology firm. The crowd was completely quiet now. Everyone was staring at Alex, trying to understand what was happening. I want to thank Manager Zexstar for his speech, Alex continued, especially the part where he talked about a human woman who claimed to be married to me. Alex looked directly at Lisa and smiled. Lisa, would you please come up here? Lisa walked through the crowd toward the stage. The alien guests moved out of her way, looking confused and worried. This is my wife, Lisa Morgan, Alex said as Lisa joined him on the stage. She arrived at this hotel 4 days ago with a valid reservation and proper identification. She was thrown out and forced to sleep in a maintenance closet because Manager Zexstar decided that humans were not good enough for my hotel. The crowd started talking loudly. Some of the alien dignitaries looked shocked. Others looked angry. The reporters were taking pictures as fast as they could. But that's not all, Alex said, his voice still calm but getting harder. Over the past week, I have discovered that my hotel has been systematically discriminating against human guests and employees. Money has been stolen. Laws have been broken. People have been hurt. Alex pulled out a small device and connected it to the hotel's display system. Suddenly, large screens around the room showed security footage of Zexstar and other Valdorian employees treating humans badly. The crowd watched in silence as the screens showed human employees being yelled at, human guests being overcharged, and human families being turned away from the hotel. I have evidence of theft, fraud, discrimination, and unsafe working conditions, Alex said. I have financial records showing that hundreds of thousands of credits have been stolen from this hotel and from our guests. I have testimony from 23 employees who have been mistreated because they are human. Zextar tried to run toward the exit, but hotel security guards were already there waiting for him. The other Valdorian employees looked around desperately, but there was nowhere to go. But the most important thing, Alex said, looking directly at the alien dignitaries in the crowd, is what this tells us about how we treat each other. Many of you laughed when Zextar said humans couldn't be trusted. Many of you applauded when he announced that this hotel would become human-free. You believed his lies because you wanted to feel superior to someone. The crowd was completely silent now. Some of the aliens were looking down at their feet, ashamed of how they had reacted. I built this hotel to be a place where all species could come together in peace and respect, Alex said. Instead, it became a place where hatred and prejudice were celebrated. That ends tonight. Alex looked at the reporters. You came here to write about a successful business. I hope you will write about something more important. The need for all of us to remember that intelligence, dignity, and worth are not determined by what species you belong to. Security guards were now escorting Zextar and the other Valdorian employees out of the ballroom. Zextar was yelling angrily, but no one was listening to him anymore. The party is over, Alex announced. Thank you all for coming. I hope you will remember this night and think carefully about how you treat others in the future. As the guests began to leave, many of them stopped to apologize to Alex and Lisa. Some of the alien business leaders promised to review their own hiring practices. The reporters surrounded Alex, asking questions about what would happen next, but Alex only had eyes for his wife. He took her hand and smiled. Are you okay? He asked quietly. Lisa smiled back. I'm perfect, but I think you just made a lot of enemies. Alex's smile got wider. Good. Maybe they'll think twice before they mess with humans again. The morning after the anniversary party, Alex sat in his office with 3 lawyers, 2 accountants, and a representative from the Galactic Labor Relations Board. On his desk were thick folders full of evidence against Zextar and the other Valdorian employees. This is the most clear-cut case of discrimination and theft I've seen in 20 years, said Susan, Alex's lawyer. They didn't even try to hide what they were doing. The financial crimes alone will put them in prison for decades, added the accountant. They stole almost 500,000 credits from the hotel and another 200,000 from guests. Alex nodded, but he wasn't satisfied with just sending them to prison. He wanted to make sure they could never hurt anyone again. What about their work permits? Alex asked. Revoked as of this morning, said the labor relations representative. They'll be deported back to their homeworlds within the week. Alex pulled out his communication device and began making calls. The first call was to the Valdorian embassy. Ambassador Kreltar, Alex said when the call connected. This is Alex Morgan. I need to speak with you about some of your citizens who have been working at my hotel. There was a pause. Mr. Morgan, I heard about the incident last night. The news reports have been troubling. They should be troubling, Alex said. Your citizens committed serious crimes while representing your species at my establishment. They stole money, broke labor laws, and created a hostile environment for human workers and guests. I understand your anger, the ambassador said carefully, but surely we can resolve this quietly. Perhaps some financial compensation. No, Alex said firmly. This isn't about money. This is about making sure it never happens again. Alex's next call was to the CEO of Valdorian Defense Systems, the company that manufactured security equipment for many of Alex's business properties. Marcus, Alex said to the CEO, who was also human, I'm canceling all our contracts with your company effective immediately. What? Alex, we've been doing business together for 5 years. What's wrong? Your head of sales is Zextar's cousin. Your regional manager is his brother-in-law. Half your sales team is made up of Valdorians who think humans are inferior. I can't trust your company to treat my employees fairly. But Alex, that's millions of credits in contracts. Can't we work something out? You can work something out by firing every employee who thinks discrimination is acceptable, Alex said. When you've cleaned house, call me back. The third call was to the Interstellar Banking Consortium, where Alex kept most of his business accounts. "I want to speak to Director Vextall," Alex said to the receptionist. "I'm sorry, Mr. Morgan, but Director Vextall is in a meeting with other Valdorian clients." "Then interrupt the meeting," Alex said. "Tell him that Alex Morgan is withdrawing all his accounts unless he takes my call in the next 5 minutes. 3 minutes later, Director Vextall was on the line, sounding worried. "Mr. Morgan, surely there's no need for such drastic action. My staff tells me you want to close accounts worth over 50 million credits. "That's right," Alex said. "I've learned that your bank has been giving preferential treatment to Valdorian businesses while charging human companies higher fees for the same services." That's just standard risk assessment," Vextall stammered. "No, it's discrimination, and I won't do business with discriminatory institutions." By lunchtime, word had spread throughout the business community. Alex Morgan, one of the wealthiest humans in the galaxy, was cutting ties with any company that employed discriminatory Valdorians or treated humans unfairly. The ripple effects were immediate and devastating. Valdorian defense systems lost 30% of their contracts within hours as other human business owners followed Alex's lead. The Interstellar Banking Consortium saw a massive withdrawal of human accounts, forcing them to emergency meetings with their board of directors. But Alex wasn't finished. His next move was even more strategic. He called Tom Bradley, the CEO of Bradley Shipping, the largest human-owned transport company in the sector. "Tom, I have a proposition for you," Alex said. "How would you like to take over all the shipping contracts that Valdorian Transport has been handling for my businesses?" "That's huge, Alex. But why are you switching?" Alex explained what had happened at his hotel and how it was part of a larger pattern of Valdorian discrimination against humans. "I'm done doing business with companies that think humans are second-class citizens," Alex said. "Are you interested in the contracts or not?" "Absolutely," Tom said. "And I know at least a dozen other human shipping companies who would love a piece of this business." Within 24 hours, Valdorian Transport had lost contracts worth over 200 million credits. Their stock price fell by 40%, and their CEO was forced to hold an emergency press conference. "We deeply regret any misunderstandings that may have occurred," the CEO said to a room full of reporters. "We value our human partners and customers, but it was too late. The damage was spreading beyond just business contracts." Lisa had been busy too. Using her skills as a teacher, she had organized the human employees at the hotel into a support group. Together, they had contacted other humans working at businesses throughout the sector. "We found 17 other hotels and restaurants where the same thing is happening," Lisa told Alex over dinner. "Valdorian managers treating human workers badly and cheating human customers." "What did you do?" Alex asked. "We collected evidence and sent it to the owners of those businesses." Most of them didn't know what was happening. They were shocked when they found out. Lisa pulled out her tablet and showed Alex news reports from across the galaxy. Hotels in 3 different star systems had fired their discriminatory managers. A restaurant chain had publicly apologized for overcharging human customers. A shipping company had changed its hiring practices after learning that qualified humans were being passed over for promotions. "It's working," Lisa said. "People are paying attention now." The biggest shock came 3 days later when Alex received a call from General Patricia Hayes, the commander of the Human Defense Force. "Alex, I need to talk to you about some of your defense contracts," the general said. Alex's technology company provided security systems for military bases throughout human space. It was one of his most important business relationships. "What about them?" Alex asked. "We've been reviewing the backgrounds of some of our alien contractors," the general said. "It turns out that several Valdorian companies we work with have been discriminating against human employees and overcharging us for services." "I'm not surprised," Alex said. "Based on your example, we're terminating those contracts and giving the business to human-owned companies instead. We figure if they don't respect our people, they don't deserve our money." The military contracts were worth over 1 billion credits. When the news broke, it sent shockwaves through the Valdorian economy. By the end of the week, Zextar and his accomplices were in prison awaiting trial. But their troubles were just beginning. The Valdorian government was facing pressure from other species who were horrified by the discrimination scandal. Several trade agreements were being reconsidered. More importantly, humans throughout the galaxy were standing up for themselves. Business owners were reviewing their partnerships. Employees were reporting discrimination. Customers were taking their money elsewhere. Alex stood on the balcony of his penthouse looking out at the space station. Lisa joined him and took his hand. "Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked. Alex thought about all the human employees who now had better jobs. He thought about the families who would be treated fairly at hotels. He thought about the Valdorian businesses that were being forced to change their practices or lose their customers. A week ago, they thought humans were weak and stupid, Alex said. They thought they could treat us badly because we wouldn't fight back. And now? Lisa asked. Alex smiled. Now they know that when you mess with one human, you mess with all of us. And that's a fight they can't win. In his hotel lobby far below, human employees were working alongside aliens in an atmosphere of mutual respect. Human guests were checking in without fear of discrimination. And throughout the galaxy, the message was spreading. Humans might be willing to forgive, but they never forget. And they always take care of their own. 6 months later, Lisa stood in front of a classroom filled with students from 12 different species. Human children sat next to young Aldorians with blue skin. A small Centauri with 4 eyes raised her hand to ask a question. In the back row, a teenage Valdorian boy took careful notes. "Can anyone tell me why treating all people with respect is important?" Lisa asked the class. A human girl named Amy raised her hand. "Because everyone deserves to be treated fairly, no matter what they look like or where they come from." "That's right," Lisa said. "And what happens when we don't treat people fairly?" The Valdorian boy in the back raised his hand nervously. "People get hurt, and then everyone suffers." Lisa smiled at him. "Very good, Kextal. Can you tell us more about that?" Kextal looked around at his classmates, then spoke quietly. "My uncle used to work at this hotel. He was mean to humans because he thought Valdorians were better. But when people found out what he did, it hurt all Valdorians. Now many people don't trust us, and we have to work extra hard to prove we're good people." "And how does that make you feel?" Lisa asked gently. "Ashamed," Kextal said. "But also determined to be better than him." Lisa nodded. "That's exactly the right attitude. We can't change what happened in the past, but we can choose to do better in the future." After class, Lisa walked through the halls of the Stellar Gateway Cultural Center. The building had once been unused office space in the hotel, but Alex had converted it into a place where different species could learn about each other. The center had classrooms like Lisa's, where children from all species learned together. It had workshops where adults could practice communicating across cultural differences. It had meeting rooms where business leaders came to learn about fair hiring practices. Most importantly, it had a memorial wall with pictures of everyone who had been hurt by discrimination at the hotel. Human employees who had lost their jobs, families who had been cheated, and even some aliens who had been mistreated for standing up for their human friends. Lisa paused in front of the memorial and read some of the names. Maria Santos, who was now the hotel's head of guest services. Carl Washington, who had gotten his job as head chef back and was training young cooks from every species. Danny Kim, who ran the new security department based on treating everyone with dignity. "Admiring your work?" a voice said behind her. Lisa turned to see Alex walking toward her. He looked tired but happy. The past 6 months had been busy for both of them. "I was just thinking about how much has changed," Lisa said, taking his hand. They walked together toward Alex's office. The hotel lobby was bustling with activity. Guests from dozens of species moved through the elegant space, all being treated with the same respect and courtesy. Human and alien employees worked side by side, and Lisa could hear laughter and friendly conversation in many different languages. "The quarterly reports came in today," Alex said as they entered his office. "We're doing better than ever. Turns out that when you treat everyone fairly, everyone wants to do business with you." Lisa sat down in the comfortable chair across from Alex's desk. "What about the legal cases?" "Zexstar and his friends were sentenced yesterday," Alex said. "Prison terms of 15 to 20 years, plus they have to pay back everything they stole." The judge said it was one of the worst cases of systematic discrimination she'd ever seen. And the other businesses? Alex pulled up a report on his computer screen. 43 companies across the galaxy have changed their practices because of what we started. The Galactic Commerce Commission has new rules about discrimination. 3. Planets have passed laws protecting workers from species-based harassment. Lisa looked at the numbers on the screen. Thousands of people had better jobs now. Millions of travelers were being treated fairly at hotels and restaurants. Entire industries had been forced to examine their practices and make changes. But the best news, Alex continued, is what's happening with human businesses. He switched to another screen that showed business statistics. Human-owned companies have grown by 30% this year. We're getting contracts that used to go automatically to alien firms. Other species are starting to recognize that humans are just as capable as anyone else. Lisa smiled. Remember when you said humans don't just get mad, we get even? I remember. Alex said, I think we got more than even. I think we changed everything. There was a knock on the office door. Alex's secretary, a friendly Aldorian woman named Bluetell, stuck her head in. Mr. Morgan, the reporters from Galactic Business News are here for your interview. Send them in, Alex said. 3 reporters entered the office, 1 human, 1 Zentari, and 1 Valdorian. The Valdorian reporter looked nervous, but the other 2 were smiling. Mr. Morgan, the human reporter said, 6 months ago you exposed discrimination at your own hotel and started what many people are calling the Great Awakening. How do you feel about the changes that have happened since then? Alex thought for a moment. I feel proud of what we've accomplished together, but I also feel sad that it took something so dramatic to make people pay attention to problems that had been going on for years. What would you say to business owners who are still resistant to change? The Zentari reporter asked. I'd say that treating people fairly isn't just the right thing to do. It's also good business, Alex replied. Companies that discriminate waste talent and lose customers. Companies that embrace equality succeed. The Valdorian reporter cleared his throat nervously. Mr. Morgan, many Valdorians feel that our entire species has been unfairly punished for the actions of a few individuals. How would you respond to that? Lisa and Alex exchanged a look. This was a question they had been expecting. I understand that feeling, Alex said carefully. But the problem wasn't just a few individuals. The problem was a culture that allowed discrimination to flourish. Valdorian society taught people like Zextar that they were superior to other species. However, Lisa added, we've also seen many Valdorians who are working hard to change that culture. Some of our best employees and students are Valdorians, who are committed to equality and respect. Like young Kextal in my class, Lisa continued. He's embarrassed by what his uncle did, but he's using that shame to become a better person. That gives me hope for the future. After the reporters left, Alex and Lisa stood together on the balcony of their penthouse. The space station sparkled around them, and ships from every part of the galaxy moved through the busy traffic lanes. Do you ever regret it? Alex asked. Getting involved in all this? Your life was much simpler when you were just teaching school in Kansas. Lisa thought about her small classroom back on Earth, where all her students looked the same and came from similar backgrounds. Then she thought about her classroom now, where children from across the galaxy learned together and became friends despite their differences. No regrets, she said firmly. Back home, I was just one teacher helping a few dozen children. Now, I'm helping to change how entire civilizations think about each other. And what about us? Alex asked. We used to be just a businessman and a school teacher. Now we're some kind of symbols for human rights. Lisa looked at her husband. The past 6 months had changed him too. He was still wealthy and powerful, but now he used that wealth and power to help others instead of just building his business empire. I like us better this way, she said. We're not just living for ourselves anymore. We're part of something bigger. Alex nodded and put his arm around his wife. The simple woman who was refused a room, he said, repeating words he'd heard a reporter use. Who married a man who made them regret it, Lisa finished with a laugh. They stood together watching the stars, knowing that across the galaxy, Humans and aliens were working together, learning from each other and building a better future for everyone. And in a small apartment on the other side of the space station, former hotel manager Zextar sat alone, finally understanding the biggest mistake of his life. He had underestimated not just one human, but the power of humans to stand together and fight for what was right. The age of discrimination was ending, and the age of equality had begun.